Hey guys, Jason here. And today, I'm going to show you 7 amazing ways you can use good old WD-40 to save potentially thousands on car repairs. Now I know what you're thinking. WD-40, isn't that just for squeaky hinges? Well, let me tell you, this stuff is like a Swiss Army knife in a can for your car. We're talking about tackling common problems that can lead to big headaches and even bigger bills from the mechanic. But with a little know-how and a can of this magic liquid, you can keep your ride running smoother, looking better and lasting longer, all while keeping more cash in your pocket. These aren't complicated, expert-level fixes either. These are simple, effective tricks that anyone can do in their own driveway or garage. We're going to cover everything from boosting your engine's performance to fighting off that dreaded rust, and even making sure you don't get locked out in the cold. Each one of these hacks is designed to be quick, easy, and most importantly, save you money by preventing problems before they start, or by making those little repair jobs a breeze. So grab your can of WD-40, maybe a clean rag or two, and get ready to learn some seriously useful tips. I'm excited to share these with you because I know they'll make a real difference in how you maintain your vehicle, and how much you spend doing it. No more shelling out big bucks for things you can easily handle yourself. Let's get started. Alright, first up, let's talk spark plugs. These little guys are crucial for your engine's health. They create the spark that ignites the air-fuel mixture, and if they're dirty or fouled, your engine isn't going to run its best. You might notice rough idling, poor acceleration, or even a drop in fuel economy. That's where WD-40 can come in handy, helping you get those plugs clean and firing like new, which can save you from buying new plugs prematurely, or even diagnosing more expensive engine issues. Over time, carbon deposits and other gunk can build up on the spark plug's electrode and insulator. This buildup can interfere with the spark, making it weaker or inconsistent. Think of it like trying to light a campfire with a wet match. It's just not going to be very effective. Cleaning them is a simple maintenance task that can make a surprising difference, and WD-40 makes that job even easier by breaking down those stubborn deposits. Safety first, guys. Before you even think about touching a spark plug, make sure your engine is completely cool. You don't want to burn yourself. And super important, disconnect the negative terminal of your car battery. This prevents any accidental electrical shorts. Once that's done, you'll need a spark plug socket and a ratchet to carefully remove each spark plug. Keep track of which cylinder each plug came from, though for cleaning it's not critical, it's good practice. Now for the WD-40 magic. Take your removed spark plug and give the electrode end. That's the part that sits inside the engine. A good spray with WD-40. Make sure to get it all around the center electrode, the ground electrode, and the insulator tip. You don't need to completely drench it, just a nice even coating. Let it sit for a few minutes. This gives the WD-40 time to penetrate and loosen up all that baked-on carbon and grime. You'll see the WD-40 starting to work its magic, breaking down those deposits. It acts as a solvent, dissolving the gunk that's clinging to the metal and ceramic parts of the plug. This is much gentler than aggressive scraping, which could potentially damage the delicate electrodes. We want to clean them, not wreck them, so let the chemical do the heavy lifting for you. It's all about working smarter, not harder. After a few minutes of soaking, take a clean rag or a soft brass wire brush. And I mean, you don't want to scratch the insulator or damage the electrode, and gently wipe away the loosened deposits. You should see the carbon and grime come off pretty easily. If they're particularly stubborn, you can give them another quick spray and a bit more soaking time. The goal here is to get that tip looking as clean as possible. Once your spark plugs are nice and clean, it's time to reinstall them. Make sure the threads are clean and carefully thread them back into the engine by hand to avoid cross-threading. This is super important. Cross-threading a spark plug hole is a major headache. Then, tighten them to the manufacturer's recommended torque specification using a torque wrench. If you don't have a torque wrench, a general rule is about 1/4 to 1/2 turn after it's finger tight, but checking your manual is best. And there you have it. Clean spark plugs, thanks to a little help from WD-40. You'll likely notice a smoother idle, maybe some crisper acceleration, and potentially even a slight improvement in your fuel mileage. By keeping your spark plugs clean, you're ensuring a more efficient combustion process, which is good for your engine and good for your wallet, saving you from buying new plugs too often, or facing costly misfire diagnostics. Next up, let's tackle one of the biggest enemies of any car owner: rust. That orange menace can eat away at your car's metal components, leading to weakened structures, ugly blemishes, and eventually very expensive repairs or part replacements. But guess what? WD-40 can be a great ally in the fight against rust, helping to prevent it from forming in the first place, especially in those vulnerable areas. Think about all the places on your car that are exposed to moisture, road salt and grime, the undercarriage inside the wheel wells, around bolts and fasteners and along panel seams. These are prime locations for rust to take hold and start its destructive work. A little preventative maintenance with WD-40 can create a barrier that helps keep these areas protected, saving you a ton of heartache and cash down the road. Before you go spraying WD-40 everywhere, it's really important to start with a clean surface. If you spray WD-40 over existing dirt, mud, or moisture, you might actually trap those things against the metal, which could make rust problems worse. So give the areas you want to treat a good cleaning with soapy water and a brush, then rinse thoroughly and let them dry completely. A clean, dry surface is key for effective rust prevention. Once the area is clean and bone dry, grab your can of WD-40. You can use the regular spray nozzle for larger areas or the smart straw for more precise application in tighter spots. Apply a light, even coat to the metal surfaces you want to protect. You don't need to soak it, a thin film is all it takes. The goal is to cover the metal and create that protective layer. So, how does it work? WD-40 stands for water displacement, 40th formula. That water displacement property is key here. It pushes moisture away from the metal surface, and then leaves behind a thin, protective, corrosion-resistant film. This film acts as a barrier, preventing oxygen and water from reaching the metal, which are the two main ingredients rust needs to form. It's a simple but effective way to interrupt the rusting process. Focus on specific, vulnerable components. Think about your brake lines. Be careful not to get it on brake pads or rotors. Suspension components like control arms and shock mounts, and even exhaust hangers, though avoid spraying directly on very hot exhaust parts. Any exposed metal that sees a lot of weather can benefit. Even things like the exposed threads of bolts under the car can be protected, making them easier to remove later. Now, this isn't a one-and-done permanent solution. The protective barrier WD-40 provides will wear off over time, especially in areas exposed to a lot of water spray or road debris, so you'll want to reapply it periodically. A good time to do this is after washing your car, or especially before winter if you live in an area with snow and road salt, and then again in the spring. Regular reapplication is key to long-term protection. By taking this proactive step, you're significantly reducing the chances of rust developing on critical components. This means those parts will last longer, your car will maintain its structural integrity better, and you'll avoid costly repairs like replacing rusted-out brake lines, suspension parts, or dealing with body rust. A few minutes with a can of WD-40 can save you hundreds, if not thousands, in the long run. That's what I call a smart fix. Alright, let's talk about one of the most common car annoyances. That awful, ear-grating squeak every time you open or close your car door. It's not just annoying, it's often a sign that your door hinges are dry and crying out for some lubrication. Ignoring it can lead to more friction, wear, and eventually, a hinge that's stiff or even seized up. Good news is, WD-40 is perfect for this job. When Dr. hinges get dry, the metal-on-metal contact creates friction, and that friction is what causes the squeaking sound. But it's doing more than just making noise. That friction also causes premature wear on the hinge pins and bushings. Over time, this can lead to a sloppy, sagging door, or one that's really difficult to open and close. A quick shot of lubricant can prevent all that. First step, locate your door hinges. Most car doors will have 2 or 3 hinges, usually visible when you open the door wide. You'll see the main hinge body and the pin that allows the door to pivot. These are the spots we want to target. Sometimes they might be a bit dirty, so it's not a bad idea to wipe them down with a rag first to remove any loose dirt or old gummy lubricant. Now grab your WD-40, and this is where that smart straw really comes in handy. It allows you to direct the spray precisely into the moving parts of the hinge. Aim right at the pivot points, where the hinge sections meet and move against each other and around the hinge pin. Give it a good but controlled spray. You want the lubricant to get right into the nooks and crannies where the friction is happening. Once you've applied the WD-40, it's time to work it in. Open and close the door slowly several times, maybe 5 to 10 times. This helps to spread the lubricant throughout the entire hinge mechanism, ensuring all the moving surfaces get coated. You should start to hear that squeak disappear pretty quickly, replaced by a nice, smooth, quiet operation. That's the sound of success. After working the lubricant in, Take a clean rag and wipe off any excess WD-40 that might have dripped or sprayed onto the surrounding paint or door panel. While WD-40 is generally safe, letting it sit can attract dust and dirt, which can eventually turn into a gummy mess. A quick wipe down keeps everything neat and tidy and prevents that buildup. The immediate result is, of course, a blissfully silent door. But you're also doing more than just stopping a noise. You're reducing wear and tear on the hinge components, making your door easier to operate, and even helping to prevent rust from forming inside the hinge mechanism itself, as WD-40 will displace any moisture that might be trapped in there. This is such a simple fix, but it really enhances the daily experience of using your car. No more cringing when you open the door. Plus, you're prolonging the life of your door hinges and potentially avoiding a more costly repair down the line if a hinge seizes up or wears out completely. It's these little maintenance tasks that add up to a well-cared-for vehicle. Summer driving is great, but it often means your car's front end and lower panels get plastered with bug splatters and specks of road tar. Not only does this look terrible, but if you leave that stuff on your paint for too long, it can actually damage the clear coat and even the paint underneath. Specialized bug and tar removers can be pricey, but guess what? WD-40 can be a surprisingly effective and budget-friendly alternative. Those bug guts are acidic, and tar contains petroleum-based solvents. When they bake onto your car's finish in the hot sun, they can begin to etch into the clear coat. This can lead to dull spots or even permanent marks if not addressed. The key is to remove them safely and as soon as possible without damaging your paintwork by scrubbing too hard. Before you start spraying, it's a good idea to make sure the car surface is relatively cool to the touch, and preferably out of direct sunlight. If the panel is hot, the WD-40 might evaporate too quickly before it has a chance to work its magic. A quick wash of the area can also remove loose dirt, so the WD-40 can focus directly on the stubborn tar and bugs. Now, take your can of WD-40 and spray it directly onto the tar spots or the areas covered in bug splatters. Don't be shy, give it a decent coating so it can really soak in. You'll want to let it sit for a few minutes. I usually say, let the WD-40 do the work for you. This dwell time is crucial because it allows the WD-40 to penetrate and soften those hardened contaminants, breaking their bond with your car's paint. You'll see the WD-40 starting to dissolve the tar, and it will make the bug remains much easier to lift. It works by getting underneath the grime and loosening its grip. This is much better than trying to scrape or scrub them off dry, which is a surefire way to scratch your paint. Patience here will pay off with a cleaner finish and no new scratches. After letting it soak for say 5 to 10 minutes, you might even see tar starting to bleed or run. Take a soft microfiber cloth and gently wipe the area. The tar and bugs should lift off with minimal effort. If you encounter a particularly stubborn spot, don't force it. Just apply a bit more WD-40, let it sit a little longer and then try wiping again. Gentle persuasion is the name of the game. It's very important that after you've removed the tar and bugs using WD-40, you wash that area thoroughly with car soap and water. WD-40 itself can leave behind an oily residue, and while it's great for loosening grime, you don't want to leave that residue on your paint long term. A good wash will remove any remaining WD-40 and ensure your paint is clean and protected, especially if you follow up with a coat of wax. So there you have it, a simple and effective way to deal with two of the most annoying paint contaminants. Using WD-40 can save you money on expensive specialized cleaners, and it's something most of us already have in the garage. Keeping your paint clean not only makes your car look better, but also helps maintain its resale value. Just remember that final wash step. Let's move under the hood to a critical component for starting your car, the battery terminals. Corrosion on your battery terminals, that fuzzy, crusty buildup you sometimes see, can cause all sorts of electrical gremlins. It can lead to hard starting, no-start situations, dimming lights, and can even shorten the life of your battery. WD-40 can help you clean existing light corrosion and prevent new buildup. What causes that nasty corrosion? It's usually a result of acidic fumes venting from the battery, combined with moisture in the air and the different metals of the terminal and clamp reacting. This creates a resistive barrier that hinders the flow of electricity, and your car's electrical system needs all the juice it can get, especially when starting the engine. Keeping those terminals clean is key for reliable performance. Safety first, as always when working around a car battery. Make sure your engine is off. Wear safety glasses and gloves because battery acid is corrosive stuff. It's best practice to disconnect the battery cables before cleaning. Always disconnect the negative terminal first, then the positive terminal. This prevents accidental short circuits if your wrench touches metal. If you already have some corrosion buildup, WD-40 can help loosen it. Spray some WD-40 directly onto the corroded terminals and clamps. Let it sit for a few minutes to penetrate. Then use a dedicated battery terminal cleaning brush or even an old toothbrush that you'll never use for teeth again, or a stiff wire brush to scrub away the loosened corrosion. You'll see that gunk break down and come off much easier. Once the terminals and the inside of the cable clamps are clean and shiny, wipe them down with a clean rag to remove any debris and residual WD-40 from the cleaning process. You want them to be as clean as possible for the best electrical contact. Now, for the preventative step, apply a fresh light coat of WD-40 to the metal surfaces of the battery posts and the insides of the clamps. This thin film of WD-40 does a couple of things. It helps to displace any moisture that might be present, and it creates a protective barrier that seals the metal from the acidic fumes and air, significantly slowing down or preventing the formation of new corrosion. It's like putting a little raincoat on your terminals. Some people use specialized terminal protectant sprays, which are great, but WD-40 can do a decent job in a pinch. Now it's time to reconnect everything. Reconnect the positive battery cable first, ensuring it's seated properly and tightened securely. Then, reconnect the negative battery cable, again making sure it's tight. Loose connections can be just as bad as corroded ones, so give them a little wiggle to make sure they're snug. By keeping your battery terminals clean and protected with WD-40, you're ensuring a solid electrical connection, which means more reliable starts, a healthier charging system, and you can even extend the life of your battery. This simple maintenance step can save you from the frustration of a car that won't start, the cost of a tow truck, or buying a new battery prematurely. It's a win-win. Every DIY mechanic and even casual tinkerers knows the sheer frustration of a bolt or nut that's rusted solid and just refuses to budge. It can bring your entire repair project to a screeching halt. Whether it's under the car, in the engine bay, or anywhere else exposed to the elements, rust can effectively weld threaded fasteners together. But before you reach for the cutting torch or breaker bar in desperation, give WD-40 a try. Rust forms in the tiny spaces between the threads of the bolt and the nut, expanding and creating immense friction. This corrosion locks the parts together, making them incredibly difficult to turn. Trying to force a stuck fastener can lead to rounded-off bolt heads, stripped threads, or even snapped bolts, all of which create much bigger problems and more expensive fixes. So, you've got a stuck bolt. The first thing to do is clear away any loose dirt or debris from around the fastener so the WD-40 can get where it needs to go. Then, grab your can of WD-40, preferably with the smart straw attached for precise application, and liberally spray the stuck bolt and nut. Try to get the liquid to flow right into the threads where the two parts meet. Don't be stingy with it. Now this is crucial. Patience is your best friend here. You need to give the WD-40 time to work its magic. It needs to penetrate deep into those rusty threads, to creep in and start breaking down the rust and lubricating the surfaces. I often recommend letting it soak for at least 10 to 15 minutes. For really stubborn cases, you might even let it sit for a few hours, or even overnight, reapplying occasionally. While it's soaking, you can sometimes help the process along. Gently tapping the head of the bolt or the nut with a hammer can create small vibrations that help the WD-40 to penetrate further into the threads. Don't go wailing on it, just some firm taps. This can help break the initial rust bond and allow the lubricant to seep in more effectively. After a good soak, it's time to try loosening it. Make sure you're using the correct size wrench or socket for the fastener. A snug fit is essential to avoid rounding off the head. Apply steady, firm pressure. Hopefully with the help of the WD-40, you'll feel that satisfying break as the fastener starts to turn. If it's still stuck, don't give up. Apply more WD-40, wait a bit longer, maybe try a few more taps. For extremely stubborn bolts, sometimes a combination of WD-40 and a little bit of heat from a propane torch used very carefully and ensuring no flammable materials are nearby, and after the WD-40 has mostly evaporated as it is flammable, can work wonders. The heat expands the metal, helping to break the rust's grip, and the WD-40 provides lubrication. But always prioritize safety when using heat. Using WD-40 to loosen stuck fasteners can save you an incredible amount of time, effort, and frustration. More importantly, it can prevent you from damaging parts, breaking bolts, or having to resort to more destructive removal methods. This means fewer replacement parts to buy and less complex repairs, ultimately saving you a good chunk of money and keeping your project on track. Our final hack is a real lifesaver, especially for those of you who live in colder climates, using WD-40 to prevent your car door locks from freezing shut in the winter. There's nothing worse than rushing out to your car on a frosty morning, only to find you can't even get the key in the lock, or if you do, it won't turn. It's frustrating and can make you late for whatever you've got planned. How do car locks freeze? It's pretty simple. Moisture, whether from rain, snow, sleet, or even car washes, can seep into the delicate internal mechanism of the lock cylinder. When the temperature drops below freezing, that trapped moisture turns to ice, effectively jamming up all the little pins and tumblers inside the lock, preventing your key from working. This is a preventative measure, so the best time to do this is before the really cold weather sets in. Think late fall or early winter as part of your car's winter prep routine. If you wait until the lock is already frozen solid, WD-40 might still help, but it's much more effective at keeping the ice from forming in the first place. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, as they say. Grab your can of WD-40, and again, that smart straw is your best friend for this task. You want to get the WD-40 right inside the lock cylinder. Carefully insert the tip of the straw into the keyhole and give it a short, quick spray. You don't need to flood the lock, a little bit goes a long way in such a small space. Once you've sprayed the WD-40 into the keyhole, take your car key and insert it into the lock. Then gently work the key back and forth, turning it a few times as if you were locking and unlocking the door. This action helps to spread the WD-40 throughout the internal mechanism, coating all those tiny moving parts, the pins, tumblers, and springs. So what's happening in there? The WD-40 is doing two key things. First, its water displacement properties help to push out any existing moisture that might be lurking inside the lock. Second, it leaves behind a thin, lubricating film that helps prevent new moisture from settling in and freezing. This lubrication also keeps the lock mechanism operating smoothly in general, even in cold temperatures. After you've worked the key a few times, remove it and wipe off any excess WD-40 that might be around the keyhole or on the key itself with a clean rag. This just keeps things tidy and prevents that oily residue from attracting dirt to the outside of your lock. You can do this for all your car's door locks. And don't forget the trunk lock if it has an external keyhole. This incredibly simple trick can save you from a world of frustration on a cold winter morning. No more fumbling with frozen locks, no risk of breaking your key off, and no need to resort to things like pouring hot water on the lock, which can actually make things worse in the long run by adding more moisture. A quick spray of WD-40 is all it takes to keep Jack Frost out of your locks and save you a potential locksmith call. And there you have it. 7 simple yet incredibly effective ways to use WD-40 that can save you a ton of money on car repairs, and a whole lot of headaches too. From keeping your engine running smoothly with clean spark plugs, to ensuring you can always get into your car on a frosty morning, WD-40 truly is a versatile tool for any car owner. These aren't just quick fixes, they're smart maintenance habits that can prolong the life of your vehicle and keep it performing at its best. Think about the cash you can save. No more buying specialized cleaners for every little job, fewer trips to the mechanic for issues you can now prevent or solve yourself, and less money spent on replacement parts because you're stopping rust and wear in their tracks. It's all about being proactive and using the tools you have, like this trusty blue and yellow can, to their full potential. I hope these tips empower you to take on more of your own car care. So next time you're facing a squeaky hinge, a stubborn bolt, or just want to give your car a little extra protection, remember these WD-40 hacks. If you found this video helpful, and I really hope you did, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. And don't forget to subscribe for more car maintenance tips, tricks, and DIY repair guides. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.